Section 16 of Reclaiming Revolution. History, Summation, and Lessons from the Work of STORM, Standing Together to Organize a Revolutionary Movement. This recording is in the public domain. Recorded by the Progressing America Project. Reclaiming Revolution, Section 16. Revolutionary Strategy. Experiences. STORM had some good initial strategic impulses. We always thought that we should engage in grassroots organizing reform struggles to lay the groundwork for the long-term development of a revolutionary movement. We also always saw working-class communities of color, and particularly women in these communities, as the main force for revolutionary struggle in the United States. But these good impulses were ultimately too general to carry us through the strategic and historical challenges that we faced. We tended to merely stay one or two steps ahead of the rest of the movement when we should have been developing an intentional, long-term strategic plan. STORM lacked a clear revolutionary strategy. And we lacked the tools to develop an effective strategy. We needed to better understand dialectical materialism, political economy, and historic revolutionary strategies and tactics. Without a shared revolutionary strategy, STORM didn't have a collective approach to our mass work. Members made individual decisions about how to apply their political line in their mass work. So they often took a wide range of political positions. Members made individual decisions about what mass work we should engage in. We often gravitated towards the most militant of the spontaneous struggles. Filled with established activists, these struggles provided members with few opportunities for base building among everyday, unorganized people, or impacting mass consciousness. Our lack of collective strategy also impacted our decisions about what social sectors we should prioritize. Left to their own individual and spontaneous choices, many members immersed themselves in the youth and student movement, where many of them had come from in the first place. This had definite benefits. We found a lot of support for our revolutionary politics among working-class youth of color. And we were able to support the development of the militant youth movement, made up predominantly of young working-class people of color. But an organization dedicated to the liberation of the working class as a whole needs a relationship to broader working-class communities, including both young people and adults. Finally, our lack of a clear, articulable strategy made it impossible for other people in the movement to know what we were up to. This contributed to create the perception that STORM was making secret, behind-the-scenes maneuvers. The movement could not dialogue with us about our strategy, and they could not hold us accountable to it. All that being said, STORM also faced a number of structural challenges to developing a revolutionary strategy. We were a regional organization. There was no strong international left, and the existing social movements were of a relatively small scale. In these conditions, it would have been difficult for us to develop a comprehensive strategy for revolutionary change. Lessons. Revolutionaries need revolutionary strategy. History places real limitations on the revolutionary left's ability to develop comprehensive long-term strategy at this particular moment. But we must push those limits and put serious time into strategy development. To build strategy, we need an analysis of current conditions. We need an assessment of what will be necessary to defeat U.S. imperialism. We need a projection of how a mass revolutionary movement will develop. And we need an analysis of the main social sectors most able and willing to lead that struggle. In our experience, we found that dialectical materialism is a helpful method of analysis for developing strategy. Helpful, but not easy. Mastery in the comprehension and application of materialist dialectics requires a great deal of study and practice. Developing strategy and class analysis also requires a deep understanding of political economy. Imperialism, national and racial oppression, and gender oppression are the central pillars of political economy today. Finally, it is important to study the revolutionary strategies and tactics employed by other liberation movements to help us develop a strategic framework and to save us from reinventing the wheel. Revolutionaries' mass work should be guided by their organizational strategy, not by the spontaneity of unexpected crisis or individual inclination. Revolutionaries need to make intentional and strategic decisions about what social sectors to prioritize. They must also be deliberate in striking a balance between building strong organizations and bases in working class communities, and taking advantage of opportunities for fast-paced mass mobilizations, which tend to attract and activate more of a middle class base. Both are necessary, but neither alone is sufficient in our efforts to build a revolutionary movement. Organizations need to articulate their strategies publicly and engage in open dialogue with the broader movement about their ideas. Outstanding questions. 1. What is an effective revolutionary strategy in our historical time and place? 2. How do revolutionaries develop and adapt that strategy? 3. What are our analysis of contemporary imperialism, regional political economy, national oppression, and racial oppression? How do these analyses inform our strategy? End of section 16.